My name is Amy. I am 37 years old. At 31, I started my own business, and it has been doing incredibly well. Currently, I work with about 20 employees in an office that's always bright and bustling, a truly fun work environment. I want to share the rather tumultuous journey that led me to start this venture. I got married at 27 and became a mother at 29. Before marriage, I worked as a web designer at a corporation and wasn't particularly interested in getting married. However, through their connections, my parents found me a suitable partner. Tom, my age, was a salesman at a top-notch company. He pursued me vigorously and proposed quickly. Moved by his earnestness, I quit my job to focus on family life. But the marriage didn't last. Tom, it turned out, hadn't cut the apron strings. He had married just to please his parents, not caring much who the bride was as long as they approved. As a result, he continued to spend weekends at his parents' home, leaving me alone often. He was also incredibly self-centered, pampered by his parents as their only child. For instance, I had to prepare his pajamas before he bathed. Forgetting once, I faced his tremendous wrath. I was expected to lay out his suit each morning and cook 5 different dishes for dinner, no frozen or pre-made food allowed. The house had to be spotless, with vacuuming and wiping down twice a day. He never helped with housework, but I persisted in my role as a wife. When we announced the news about me being pregnant, both of our families were overjoyed. I secretly hoped this new beginning would be a turning point for my husband. But this hope was about to be shattered. When morning sickness made housework impossible, his anger erupted.
How come you can't do the chores everyone else manages?
He lashed out at me with harsh criticism. As the pregnancy advanced, I tried my best to keep up with chores, heavy with child, while he just played on his phone. Fatherly awareness was non-existent. Instead, his self-centered behavior only intensified. Through this challenging pregnancy, our daughter was born. Her name is Scarlett. Contrary to my hopes, his self-centeredness accelerated even after the birth. Coming home from the hospital with the baby, I was faced with an unexpected sight. He hadn't done any housework while I was hospitalized. I began my days, newborn in arms, overwhelmed by chores. Far from gratitude, my husband instead criticized.
You should be able to finish such tasks quickly.
He even mockingly called me, "Hey, meatball, pay attention," as if to ridicule the changes in my postpartum body. Although the doctor said my weight gain was no issue, I couldn't help but express my anger. "You are not helping with any chores and you judge me right after giving birth? How can you?" He got furious, knocked over the chair, and stood up abruptly.
What are you talking about? I'm the one supporting the family financially. You, as my wife, should listen to what I say. After all, anyone can do household chores. You insolent woman.
I was speechless, unable to find words to retort, standing frozen. From then on, mocking my appearance became his habit. "Meatball, is dinner ready yet? Watch out, the sumo champion is passing by. Do you even understand the concept of losing weight?" He would say mercilessly. Arguing back seemed like it would escalate into a wrestling match of words, so I remained silent and endured. What sustained me was the thought of the new life I needed to protect. My husband had no sense of sharing roles at home. And for me, parenting was all new. Juggling chores while feeding and changing a crying baby wasn't easy. Putting glasses on a bare face with no makeup was all I could afford every day. So my age started to catch up with me. One day, I reached a point where I only had time to go to the bathroom once in the morning. Nevertheless, I continued to encourage myself as a new mother. Then one day, my husband started complaining even more about my appearance.
You've completely abandoned being a woman since we had a child. Shall we divorce? I prefer a younger and prettier girl. By the way, our daughter's starting to look like you.
He suddenly suggested divorce. What? What are you saying? I could not comprehend his words.
You've been gaining weight non-stop, right? I'm at my limit. I want a slim woman. Pack your bags and get out of here.
His statement was downright crazy. What are you talking about? That's absurd. Confused, I immediately called his parents. My husband wants to divorce because he says I've abandoned being a woman since becoming a mother. Can you do something about it? I was panicking, but my in-laws remained calm.
If our son says so, it might be true. It's proof of your lack of effort as a wife. What exactly are you doing? You shouldn't trouble our son.
I was left in despair, unable to do anything.
I'm at my limit. Please leave. I can't be interested in someone who has given up being attractive as a woman.
How are my child and I supposed to live from now on?
That is your problem. Be independent. Goodbye, meatball mother and child.
Unable to bear his repeated insults, I decided to take my daughter and leave the house. No tears flowed. To be more correct, I didn't even have the luxury to cry. I couldn't forgive my husband for his heartless words towards our daughter. Despite feeling lost, I reached out to my parents for advice. At my parents' home, my brother and his wife were living together and they had a small child. I knew returning home would be a burden, but I had no other choice. When I asked if they could take us in, even temporarily, my parents and brother warmly welcomed us in. I told them what happened and explained it wasn't possible for me and my husband to make up. My family told me, stay here as long as you need. Touched by my family's kindness, for the first time I started to cry, tears flowing freely. And then, my brother's wife said,
"You'll need professional support from now on. I used to work as a secretary at a law firm. I still have contacts there, let me introduce you."
Thanks to her generous offer, I was able to meet a trustworthy lawyer within a few days. The lawyer I consulted with was a woman in her 40s. Having gone through a divorce herself, she was very understanding and eagerly addressed my concerns. Discussions about the divorce took place several times, but my husband was unwilling to agree to pay child support.
Your husband claims that you've neglected your role as a woman and prioritized the child too much. It's like he's an adult with the mindset of a child. He seems to think marriage is about pleasing his parents and controlling his spouse. While I acknowledge your effort to fight for child support, consider this an opportunity to sever ties completely. His parents also seem to be a difficult type to deal with, and it might be more constructive for you to focus on your future without any further involvement with such people.
She suggested. Hearing this, I felt like I was struck by lightning. His shallow reasons for wanting a divorce, and the cold words he hurled at our daughter when leaving. Continuing any relationship with him was nothing but pain. I found myself desperately wanting to break free from him and gain my liberty as soon as possible. After much thought, I decided to raise my daughter on my own and to build a much happier life in the present.
From now on, you'll need to put in even more effort for your daughter's sake. Are you prepared for that?
She asked. Yes, I am. I responded clearly to the lawyer's question, my resolve to move forward into the future firm. After the divorce was finalized, I resumed my work as a web designer from home. Fortunately, this profession has been in high demand recently, and I was able to acquire projects smoothly as a freelancer. Working tirelessly day and night, I dedicated myself to design work and child rearing in between. Once independent, I launched my own website and actively promoted it on social media platforms. Within about a year, I was able to earn more than what my ex-husband used to make. Placing highly in web design contests also led to an increase in new job offers. Eventually, I established my own web design company. During busy times, my brother's wife from my parents' home helped me as a secretary. Part-time staff also lent their strength, and the company began to take off smoothly. As the business expanded, further sales activities became necessary, and my brother, who originally worked at a major advertising agency, left his job to take on sales for the company. My brother, with his business acumen, built upon the social media-based promotion I had been doing, deploying advertising strategies using traditional media, which led to rapid growth of the company. As my company grew, I also began to take better care of myself. Initially post-divorce, I was always working at full capacity, bare-faced and with glasses. While my passion remains unchanged, my role as the representative requires me to be mindful of how I present myself to others. Thus, I moved on from a bare face and glasses and started investing in quality suits and bags. My hairstyle is now a chic updo, and I apply subtle makeup. As a business owner, I feel that my confidence and pride are now apparent even in my appearance. One day, after finishing work, my brother's wife and I went to a restaurant. This restaurant has an unpretentious atmosphere and is one of our favorites. The staff introduced us to today's specials with a friendly demeanor, making menu selection a breeze. Above all, I love the luxurious yet unassuming ambience of the place. As we were enjoying our conversation, a familiar figure approached us. It was my ex-husband.
Good to see you're doing well.
He said with a smile, bringing water to our table. He was working at the restaurant. Remembering his arrogant attitude before our divorce, I felt a bit nauseated. "Oh, look who it is. You seem well too," I replied with a smile to his greeting. Since the divorce, I had heard rumors that he had problems at work and got fired. I hadn't been informed of his whereabouts after that, but a relative who frequents this restaurant told me he was working here as a waiter. My brother's wife and I decided to visit the restaurant on a whim, pretending not to know he worked here.
You've changed a lot. You seem, I don't know, more beautiful.
His words, once used to belittle me, now ignited my anger. "Please, get out of my sight."
What? Don't be so cold. I was surprised to hear you started a company, site in a magazine. Maybe I can help you.
His audacious request left me dumbfounded. "I have no idea what you are talking about."
Why not? We were married once, let's start over.
"Keep the jokes to your face. Go away, you are ruining my meal." While saying this, I gestured for him to leave. In that instant, his demeanor changed abruptly.
Why are you acting like that?
And how are you acting? I'm a customer here.
What did you say? You dare act like you're better than me. You used to live off my money.
I remained surprisingly calm. Here was a man, divorced, jobless, and without any remorse. The realization that such people really exist hit me, but I kept my inner peace. That's when the restaurant owner appeared.
Is there something troubling you, ma'am?
The owner is an acquaintance from the time the restaurant opened, and we've been close friends since she was an inexperienced waitress.
I heard arguing. Is there a problem?
She asked, concerned. Well, he's causing some trouble. Could you please handle it? The owner glared at my ex-husband.
What is the meaning of this? Waiter.
Well, she and I were married. When I heard she started a new company, I asked for a job and she got angry.
Let me correct you. We're married. He insulted me and our daughter, and that led to our divorce. He's a stranger to me now.
How dare you speak to a customer like that?
The owner's face turned red with anger.
No, it's just, she's being too mouthy for a woman.
His reasoning was laughable.
Excuse me? For a woman? Is there a problem with being a woman? I'm a woman myself. You know?
The owner's anger reached its peak, and she confronted him further.
No, I mean, owner, that came out wrong. I didn't mean.
What did you say? I detest sexist men like you the most. We have no need for someone with such views in our restaurant. Leave now. You're fired.
The owner's fury echoed through the restaurant.
I'm sorry, please forgive me. I have nowhere else to go if I lose this job. Please.
Learn to stand on your own feet, I said briskly to my ex-husband as he begged the owner pitifully. Crying, he was escorted out of the restaurant by security. According to the owner, he had been fired from his previous job and had been job hopping until she took pity on him and hired him as a waiter. However, he ended up betraying her kindness. A fitting case of poetic justice. I can't think of anyone else who fits the saying so well. Meanwhile, my company continued to thrive. And for me, soon I might not be single anymore. I hit it off with a divorced entrepreneur I met at a networking event for different industries, and we quickly became close. We shared our past experiences. I have a daughter, and he's single. Over time, we've deepened our bond, not just with each other, but with my daughter as well. Next spring, we plan to build a new family together. He is a warm and loving person. As for my ex-husband's current situation, after being fired from the restaurant, he's still unemployed and hasn't found a partner. He used to make fun of my appearance, and now I hear that he himself has become a classic example of metabolic syndrome. The twists of fate and the passage of time can be merciless. My life, too, has been a roller coaster of ups and downs. Marriage, childbirth, and then divorce. I threw myself into work and started a company. I experienced firsthand the lesson of responsibility for one's own actions. Now, if there's anyone out there lost in the dark, feeling hopeless, I offer these words. There is always a way out of a dark tunnel, and there is no night that lasts forever. Incidentally, the lawyer who strongly supported my divorce now greatly contributes as the legal advisor to my company.